Welcome and hello. You are tuned into Talk the Talk, and today's talk is about family. The issue we are dealing with is the identity scripts everyone has developed. But what is identity scripts? Explained by Wood, writer of the Interpersonal Communication Everyday Encounters, they are defined by our roles, how we play them, and the basic elements of plots in our lives. Think back. Do you remember being told, "Don't do that"? We don't act like that. Now, good girls don't lie. Our family always help those in need. These are all things a family applies to their children's life when growing up. Wood notes that psychologists say identity scripts are formed by the age of 5. Well then, this means children are unconsciously have no control to be who they want, and is controlled by the caregivers or their parents. I thought it would be useful to challenge this belief. Recent polls have shown roughly 30% of parents still stick to everything they have learned from their parents to teach their young. The other 70% have adopted new ideas and learned how to enhance what their parents taught them to live in our new day society. When speaking to many adults, they admit they still have many of the same beliefs and values they were taught as a child, and haven't thought to challenge those beliefs, and their identity scripts have remained the same. Those who have challenged those younger childhood scripts and opened up to things they weren't used to as a child say they feel more vulnerable to change when growing up. Many also mention their identity scripts were highly pushed upon them growing up, being the reason for they sought out to change. Now that you know about identity scripts, let's talk about how they affect us. Many people have said that their identity scripts have often been challenged, putting up barriers from different views. When growing up, you are exposed to things your parents did not want you to see or hear. These things that possibly differ in their beliefs and how they want you to think. This is when you choose to become who you want to be or who you're expected to be. Your amount of stress in this situation is based on how your caregivers are. If you are raised in a strict environment, you are most likely not to challenge your identity scripts or roles that is laid out by your parents, in fear of disappointment or even punishment. But if your parents are more relaxed and give you an option, then why not try something new or break away from their beliefs and structures they have laid out for you as a child? This also can be greatly influenced by your cultural or background. Society is very different, and there are many cultures in America. One household could differ very greatly than the one next door. This can amount in possible conflict when confirmation arises. This is when communication and understanding arises, when identity scripts clashes between two. At this point, you are shown people's true identity. When conflict arises, you are able to determine if A, your identity script can handle a different identity script, or B, you need to work on your own identity script to be able to handle these situations. It has been shown when working on to improve your communication skills, you are open to learning new things. And when you learn new things, all knowledge can be challenged. Today on Talk to Talk, we have Anise Jura, who is a 20-year-old college student who is about to start her 3rd year of college, living on her own for the first time and in a town she's never been in before. Anise, my question for you is, how do you feel that your identity script was as a child?
As a child, my mother always told me to treat everyone as an equal, because when you judge someone at first glance, you don't really get their whole story, and they could be the nicest person ever. But going through school and having my own experience, I believe, has changed my identity script.
I see. So your identity script was challenged during your grade school. Now off to college, will you keep in mind what you learned there or stick to what you were taught as a child?
A little bit of both. Yes, I'll always have what my mother taught me in the back of my mind, but I always tend to lead more towards the experiences I have made myself. Because what my mother taught me is a combination of her experiences and how she was raised. And she was raised in a different era and a different place.
Thank you, Anise. I like how you mentioned your mother taught you from how she was raised. Do you feel you could fall into the category of sticking to what you were taught when developing your child's identity script, or to allow them to make their own choices of who they want to be?
I will definitely teach my children the same manners and etiquette I was taught as a child, but I'm not going to try and push my beliefs on them. I do believe, though, that children learn from what they see, so even though I might not directly tell them how to act towards others, there is always the possibility they will pick it up from my actions.
So, by having your identity script follow you throughout your life, you will continue to use some of your identity script as a child, as well as how it was changed by your experiences. Do you feel as if by the time your children grow up, they should take what they learned from you and take that with them?
I would hope so, but they will learn from their own experiences just as I have.
Thank you, Anise. As my interview showed, people stick to their identity script, rather it be completely the same as their childhood or combined with how their identity has changed by their experiences. Identity scripts affect our communication, which affects our everyday life. By knowing what our scripts are and experiencing new things, it shapes who we are and how we act. Thanks to my guest speaker and interviews, I am able to tell all my listeners out there that our identity scripts shape us, and by strengthening our communication skills and having experience, we shape ourselves into who we want to be. And with that, we can use our own identity scripts to raise the next generation with everything we have learned and experienced in our own era. Thank you all for your time, and join us in next time on Talk to Talk.